And hello and welcome to Orion Today. I'm your host, Joe Johnson. And once again, I'm joined by Tracy Woodrum.
Yay.
Welcome back. It's been a while.
Thank you. Yes,
Where you been? Where are you hiding?
Gosh, where haven't I been? I don't know. Summer is flying by. So.
It is going by fast.
Yeah.
I feel like after 4th of July, it just goes by in the blink of an eye.
Right. Yeah. It's like you have to soak in those first few weeks, June. But yes, 4th of July hits and then it's like we're into fall.
And it has been a hot summer, so I think people are already starting to think about fall for the cool down. And you go in the stores, you're already seeing Halloween decorations out and stuff like that.
I'm not ready for that. No,
I know.
No. I still I do like the warm weather. Yes, it's a little hot, but I just need to be near water. I think we need to invest in a lake house that we can all hang out at. So
well, this community is full of lakes. If it gets too hot, go jump in the lake.
Go jump in the lake. Yeah. Yeah, well, speaking of lakes, I actually just got back from Minnesota, which is the
land of
10,000 lakes.
Yeah,
yes, 10,000 lakes. One of my daughters just moved there for work, done with college, and going to be working for the Mayo Clinic as a nurse.
Wow.
So that's kind of where I've been in the more recent week or so.
Yeah.
But
Did you get to see or do anything while you were there?
Just kind of scoped out the area. Basically, Rochester, Minnesota is the land of the Mayo Clinic. So the hospital, there's multiple buildings, and that's basically the downtown. I mean, there's some cool restaurants and cool little respite places. They have this little fountain area and you can go walking through the water. We actually saw some people that looked like they worked at the hospital, kind of took their shoes off and taking a break. And so
Minneapolis is in Minnesota, right?
It is.
But it's about
a couple of hours away. So it's not that close.
I went to Minneapolis for a conference a few years ago, and it was a lot of fun because I like visiting famous locations, and the Mary Tyler Moore Show did a lot of filming in and around the Minnesota area, and I was able to find locations that appeared in the opening credits for the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And of course, Prince was a big, huge presence in Minnesota, so I went to the club, the concert venue, First Avenue, I think it's called. That's where they filmed scenes for Purple Rain and stuff like that. So it was really, I had a lot of fun.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And then of course the Mall of America. Which
yes,
was,
I've been to.
I mean, that's worth the trip, the Mall of America. It's incredible.
I've been to Minnesota multiple times and to the Mall of America. But I did take my mom one time on a trip because she had never been to Minnesota or the mall, and I was like, all right, this was when I worked in a different type of sales and a little more income. So I flew her out there and we went, and it's there's some stores, some of the big chains, you'll have it 3 or 4 times in the same mall because it's so large that sometimes you can only go into one quadrant.
Did you do the roller coaster?
Oh yeah.
Oh my!
Because my kids were younger when we went, and we did the roller coasters, and it was fun. It's really unique.
It's worth the trip. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So.
Here in Lake Orion, there's a lot going on that put Minnesota to shame. There were so many things going on this past week. One of them was they changed the name of it. It's called Vet Fest. Not a car show. It was a veterans picnic over at Lake Point Community Church in Oxford. The church puts on this free picnic basically for veterans and their families, and they serve up food and dogs and brats. And they moved it indoors this year because they didn't want to deal with bad weather, and the weather was meh. But they got a great turnout, and it's such a great event to recognize vets and their families.
I need to get my dad to that one of these years.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And they'll do something similar when the holidays roll around, so I'll let you know when that's coming up. But it's just a great time for, veterans to get together and share their stories, and the organizer, why don't you sit with someone you don't know this year? Just meet new people and share those stories.
Yeah.
So that was really great.
That is nice. I feel like, especially as we get older, we get used to being comfortable and just talking to the people that we know, but I always enjoy meeting new people and hearing their stories, and you never know what you're going to learn or what you have in common.
I could strike up a conversation with someone at the grocery store. Another thing that went on this past weekend, really big event, 3-day music festival at Camp Agawam called Tommy Stock. And that is huge. It acts as a fundraiser for Camp Agawam, the Friends of Camp Agawam. and they're doing some really amazing improvements there. The fire bowl never looked better. They added 30% additional seating at the fire bowl. They have that new stage, which has sort of a concrete base, and it just looks spectacular. So they kicked things off on Friday. They had bands like a Pearl Jam tribute band called Porch. I'm not sure what the connection there is. The Sea Monsters, which is made up of most of the members of the band Sponge. That's who was performing in some of those clips there. And then the Orion Community Foundation did a check presentation for $10,000 for improvements to Camp Agawam. And for those of you who might not know, the township bought Camp Agawam a number of years ago. It was a Boy Scout camp for about 100 years, and they were going to put it up for sale, and people were afraid that it might get developed into residential or commercial or something. And so the township stepped in, they bought it, they continue to maintain it as a beautiful park with a new, the Kaboom playground, which they built a number of years ago.
I helped build that. I was part of the community team that helped build that.
Yeah, and there's camping, and they did improvements to the beach that is right on Tommy's Lake there. So
there's trails, you can go walking. It's
it's
a great
beautiful
space.
And so Tommy Stock helped fund improvements to the park there. And on Sunday, which is the last day of the festival, they sort of dedicate that to a cancer fundraiser. So they, I don't know if I can say this on live TV, but it's called Boobs, Tubes, and Dudes. And they have a big float out on the lake, and there's a tiki bar, and there's karaoke and live performances, and any money raised at that event goes toward breast cancer research. So it's a really great weekend. I spent Friday and Sunday there, and it was hot, but
it was
what
hot,
a great event.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then, I was busy this weekend, Sunday morning was the Kids and Cops car cruise in downtown Lake Orion. And it's such a great event. I almost wish we can do this more often than just once a year. But the village is such a beautiful layout for a car cruise. And I know the businesses down there don't necessarily like closing down the streets, but it was just great to see all the foot traffic and people walking around and all these beautiful cars. And money raised from this event goes toward the Lake Orion Police Department, who had a tent there. They do a Kids and Cops program where they spend a Friday evening at Blansims Elementary School, which is the only elementary school within the borders of Lake Orion. And the kids come in and they play floor hockey and foosball, and there's games and puzzles and pizza. And it's an opportunity for the police to hang out with the kids and kind of create a favorable impression. And I do believe at least some of the proceeds here goes toward their Shop of the Hero program too. In December, the Lake Orion Police Department take about 30, 40 kids to Target, and they go Christmas shopping. And it's really great because the kids are told to shop for themselves, but you find them shopping for their siblings and their parents, and it's really a great program. So the LOPD is doing some great things, and it was just a really super fun event. And Cruisin' Media was there, who I write for. My friend Mickey York took over Cruisin' Media a number of years ago, and they put out a publication, and they have an online presence. And they're starting a new video series right here in this studio.
Ooh,
yeah, it's called the Cruise Cast. And it's kind of like a newscast where they're going to be covering car shows in the area. So that's a lot of fun.
That is awesome.
So,
Are you going to help them out with that, like a special guest sometime?
Believe me, I'm doing some heavy lifting on that show. But yeah, and I'll probably do some on-camera stuff too, because for the magazine, the articles that I write are related to TV and movie cars. And I think the next article, the deadline's coming up. This will be kind of the fall edition coming out. So I think I might do something on the Munsters Coach, which is this cool hot rod that was on the old Munsters TV show. So yeah, it's fun writing for them. Mickey and I go way back. He was a Fox Sports Detroit /Bally /FanDuel sports anchor. And then they just like fired everybody. FanDuel just fired everybody. They just lopped everything off at the top. So Mickey's going to dedicate his time to Cruisin' Media and these types of events. And I'm like, let me know what I need to do to help out. It's a lot of fun.
I have some friends who are into cars, so I'm sure they'll have be tuning in. So.
Subscribe.
Yes.
So, and something that happened about a week ago is the Chamber, their one and only fundraiser of the year, the Chamber of Commerce, they have a big golf outing at Paint Creek Country Club, and they sell that event out every year, and there's raffle prizes and all sorts of stuff. So I went out there early Monday morning to catch the mad scramble at the start, and here's the news story I put together on the Chamber's annual golf outing.
On the morning of Monday, July 21st, the Orion Area Chamber of Commerce hosted their 10th annual golf outing at Paint Creek Country Club. Approximately 90 golfers representing 40 different businesses enjoyed a buffet breakfast before heading out for the shotgun start at 10 a.m.
There's a shotgun start at 10 a.m. and then everybody is dispersed out onto the course. Out there they have all kinds of fun activities such as the putting contest, the vintage photo booth. They have we have sponsor booths out there that play little games, and they have additional chances to win prizes from our sponsors. They can indulge in raffle tickets and 50-50. So there's all kinds of things. It is a fundraiser after all, so there's all kinds of things for them to indulge in. Then they get brats on the turn, drinks, and then afterwards when they come in they get the opportunity to win all kinds of prizes such as closest to the pin men and women, longest drive men and women, all kinds of contests, and then of course the big winner gets the big perpetual trophy along with a crystal trophy for each individual one. But the winner gets their name on this big silver perpetual trophy, and it's there in perpetuity.
Volunteers were stationed at various holes along the golf course, overseeing fun events like putting for prizes and a hole-in-one contest.
So we're doing a putt for prizes event here at the putting green, sponsoring the chamber. And all it is, you know, you get 3 attempts for $20, and you can win any of these prizes right here. So that's, we'll be out here for the entire day.
Did the Gregor provide all these prizes?
The Gregor did provide all these prizes. We provided everything that you'll see here, and all of it is available to win. I should say some local businesses also contributed for donations, as far as like G's Pizza has some gift cards that they provided us for the event, Rebecca's as well, and I think the local Tim Hortons.
Why do you think it's important to be out here today to be part of this event and supporting the chamber?
I think it's important to support any chamber, just because, you know, local businesses really like keep these communities going, and we like to be part of the community, so we like to participate and encourage people to participate as well through our participation.
Just happy to support the chamber. Orion, they do a great job of supporting us and our business, and we're happy to be here to support them and see some golfers and enjoy the beautiful day.
What's the day been like for you so far?
It's been very nice, bunch of nice people coming through. We're doing some TPI assessments for them, and they seem to be very receptive of that. Just happy to be here again supporting the chamber.
Well, we are running the hole-in-one, sponsoring the hole-in-one, making sure people have a chance of getting it in the hole.
Why do you think it was important to take part in this event today?
We want to be a part of the community and show our company off at the same time.
What's at stake here today if someone gets a hole-in-one?
A hole-in-one, they win a trip, I believe, Pebble Beach vacation.
As the event wound down, participants enjoyed a prime rib dinner at the clubhouse where raffle prizes were handed out, followed by an award ceremony. Named the winner of the 2025 Chamber Golf Outing was the team representing Salico Capital in Rochester, Michigan.
You know, coming out here, drinking a few, having fun. You know, the key is to have fun. You have to have fun. You can't win if you're not having fun. There you go.
This is our only big fundraiser that we put on each year, and it helps the chamber. I always say it helps us keep the lights on, but it also helps us provide, you know, like programming, educational programming, networking events, and to just keep that office running, supporting over 330 small businesses in the Orion area. We work really, really hard at trying to make a personal experience with each one of our members and to make sure we get them involved in one way or another. Just today is a perfect example. We probably have have 75 of our members that have donated different raffle prizes and or have sponsored and or have volunteered. So we're lucky to have, I think, about 15 fabulous volunteers out here helping us, because as we all know, it takes a village.
To get involved with what the Chamber has to offer, you can call 248-693-6300 or visit orionareachamber.com. From Paint Creek Country Club in Orion Township, this is Joe Johnson reporting for ON TV News.
That is a fun event, though, the Chamber Golf outing.
It is,
So,
it is. And,
yeah.
you know, there's sponsors at every hole, and they have contests, like hole-in-one contests and putting contests, and it's a lot of fun. And it's, like I said, it's the Chamber's only fundraiser of the year, and that kind of helps them get through the year with all the social networking events and everything that they do. So,
Yeah.
it's great.
It's awesome.
So I don't know if you're aware of this. Tomorrow, July 30th, is the 50th anniversary of the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa.
Oh.
Did you know
I
that?
did not know that, no.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
and-
surprise me that you know that.
Oh, I've been on this for a while. It surprises me that there are a lot of Lake Orion residents who aren't aware of the fact that Jimmy Hoffa was a Lake Orion resident. And I remember about 10, 12 years ago, I was doing some research for a story where they were doing a dig at Orion and Adams Road. And I asked the township where Jimmy Hoffa's former home was, and they sent me the address, and I typed it into Google Maps, and the line from where I was sitting to Jimmy Hoffa's house was about that big. And I realized that I could practically walk to that home from where we're sitting. And so I've been following that progress. The house was put up for sale at the end of last year. It didn't sell right away, so they split the property up to include the house and then just the rest of the land.
Yeah.
And it was bought by these people sitting right here across from me. John and Susan Hagan are joining us now.
Hello.
And you guys you closed on the house in May, correct?
Right.
And what possessed you to reach out and make an offer on Jimmy Hoffa's former house?
That's a great question. I'm semi-retired, I guess. I was finishing up a rehab for my son's house and didn't want to get bored, so we decided let's put an offer and get another project for me to keep me busy.
So did you know that it was formerly Jimmy Hoffa's
I knew
home?
it.
when
I
you
did
were
know
doing-
it was listed
Okay.
in the real estate listing as the Hoffa House.
Okay.
So I knew that. At that point, I didn't know he had a house in Lake Orion, so I was kind of clueless to that.
Okay, so
So-
you just
Yeah.
thought maybe it's a house he visited, or you had friends, but, spent a little time.
No,
so, yeah.
originally it was
Yeah.
his summer getaway. I did some research, found out through Oakland County that Hoffa bought that house and property in 1947. He's been
Okay.
here a long time.
Yeah.
And then he bought up all the surrounding property to the point where he owned a good chunk of what's called Avalon Beach on Square Lake. And so when he was released from prison in 1971, he made that his permanent home until the day he disappeared in 1975. His wife Josephine passed away in 1980, I believe it was. And then the Hoffa family sold the house originally to Wayne Daniel Prawl in 1985. And he was in that home for close to 40 years. And what's interesting about that, and you guys could attest to this, is he was a bit of a hoarder. And he inherited many of Jimmy Hoffa's possessions. And they sat there for 40 years. And so his stuff kind of accumulated on top of Jimmy Hoffa's stuff. And so when I got a chance to get inside the house, I think it was back in February, as we're walking through the house, you see Jimmy Hoffa artifacts, brochures and newspapers with headlines and things like that. And apparently the Prawl family, they collected all kinds of stuff and like put it in storage. And there's a photo of Jimmy Hoffa sitting in a chair on the phone in front of a window in the living room. And that chair was there for the longest time.
Wow.
Now, when you guys came in, a lot of that stuff had been taken out of the home, correct?
Yes.
But you still found some cool stuff. Susan, tell us about some of the cool stuff you found in the home.
Well, he had probably about 6 various different copies of a Who's Who of America book. And I happened to go through one of them, and he had taken a pencil mark and put it right by his name. And then as I brought it home, I flipped through it, and there was a Teamster song. It was written out on that old typewriter type style, and a little faded and stuff, but I didn't even know the Teamsters had a song. So.
You know, when you
Are you
posted
going to
that,
sing it for us?
Oh,
No, I'm sorry.
absolutely.
that's what I was going to
sing
say.
all that.
We don't know the words.
When I saw you
that's
post the
cute.
photos on Facebook, I Googled and Googled to see if I can find any sort of recording, any YouTube video, and there doesn't seem to be
So it's
any
like a
recordings
secret.
of the tune that goes with
The
those
secret
lyrics.
song. It's the secret
If
song.
the Teamsters want the song so they can produce it,
Yeah, there we
I'd
go.
be glad to give them a copy. That's absolutely.
And you also have a story where you found, was it something in the kitchen?
Yeah,
What did you find in
we
the
were
kitchen?
emptying out the kitchen and we're digging through everything, and I saw this blue box way in the back. It was turned around, it just was blue, and I pulled it out and I turned it around and it said Crown Royal, and I picked it up and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is full. So I opened it up and it was still sealed, and it said 1979, which is obviously after he had after he had disappeared, but I'm sure hopefully it might be still the Hoffa families.
Yeah, because they were there at least until
Yep.
1980 and maybe a little bit after.
85.
80,
They sold it in 85.
85.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
probably.
So it was
yeah.
likely the families.
Yeah, definitely. That's really cool. Yeah. So since you've been in there, I know you've been documenting your progress in there. Let's talk about some of the things you've accomplished so far since taking over ownership. What have you done to the house?
Mostly throughout the whole house there's knotty pine paneling. Every room but the kitchen and the bathroom. Even the basement has it, walls, ceilings. The carriage house has knotty pine. So I've been taking that down mainly because I have to do some structural stuff, and it has old wiring and just plumbing. So upstairs we've got pretty much gutted, and about half of the first floor is gutted. I started on the basement a little bit.
I saw some photos where you took it down to the studs, basically, right?
We're taking it all the way down the studs because even there's some insulation in the walls, but it's not to today's standards, so it just needs to be redone completely. So there's a lot of demolition work. Mostly it's just getting all that knotty pine off, which is quite tedious. and I'm taking it down where I can save it, save as much as possible.
Right.
And I'll use it in strategic spots and probably use it to totally restore the carriage house.
Oh, yeah. So close to Allendale, there's that garage, kind of a residential home. Is that the building you're referring
Yeah,
to? So
yes.
what you've been inside there. What's that building like? I've never seen it inside.
Well, on the first floor there's room for 2 cars, then a workshop. Then on the second floor is a full 2-bedroom. They're very small bedrooms, but it has a full kitchen, a full bathroom, and a little living space.
Yeah. I was told
sounds
that
like you need to set up a tour of that. I mean, you haven't seen that space yet?
Yeah, I haven't been in there, but I was told by the children of Wayne Daniel
Yeah.
Prowl that they lived in that building for at least a little bit of time while the Prowl
Correct.
family.
Yeah, I think when
occupied
they
the
were
property.
first getting married or something.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then Chucky O'Brien was rumored to have
Stayed
lived there also.
Yeah. Wow. So that's a historical part of the property too.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know if you guys have seen this, but with the 50th anniversary coming up, Fox 2 News has been doing a series of stories, like lengthy stories on their 10 o'clock newscast. Part 1 talked about Jimmy Hoffa up through his disappearance. Part 2 is the aftermath of the disappearance. And as I'm watching these videos, you see like this pristine, beautiful property. I'm like, where's that? And I'm like, wait a second, that's the Lake Orion home. Have you seen those pictures and footage of what that home looked like in its prime?
We've seen some, and I think I saw a new one on the Fox too, which
Yeah.
showed a different view and had a fountain on the property.
Oh, wow.
So one of our goals is to restore it back to that state on the exterior.
Yeah.
Is to get the great grass growing there, because I think Hoffa loved taking care of the lawn.
Yeah.
And he did do it all himself.
Yeah. I mean, the
What did he use
archival
for his fertilizer?
the archival film of that property makes it look like a state park or something. That's how pristine it was. And one thing that I'm fascinated with, I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this, but there are some photos taken of Hoffa on that property the day he disappeared. There was a Free Press photographer named Tony Spina who made an appointment to take some pictures of Hoffa that morning, and later that day he vanished. And in one of the photos, Hoffa's kind of got his foot up on a picnic table, and behind him you see a totem pole near the lake. That totem pole is still on the property, and you just had it renovated. Talk about that.
Well, a daughter of one of my friends is an artist, so she offered to renovate it, and she did a beautiful job. She was able to take the colors and computerize a little bit, figure out what to replace it with, so it's the original colors of the statue. She had to reconstruct some of the cement because it was decaying.
Okay.
But she did a beautiful job, and it will stand out on that lake.
Yeah, you know, when I saw it, I fell in love with it. And, you know, before you guys took ownership, people were saying, well, the home might get demolished. And I'm like, if I hear anyone get a wrecking ball anywhere near that house, I'm going to sneak in the middle of the night,
Chain yourself?
steal the totem pole, put it in my apartment.
I thought you were going to chain yourself to the front door, Joe. I was like,
I'm
no.
like, oh, that part. But I'm so glad that you've saved the totem pole and restored it, and that's going to continue to be part of the property. And from what I heard, do you recall there's a concrete ornamental place on Lapeer Road that you would drive by and there'd be all these
on the
concrete
corner
lawn
there,
ornaments? I was told that's where Hoffa bought all of his yard ornaments, and a lot of them are still there today. That ornamental concrete place is gone now. They're building a Skelnick Ford on that property, but it's nice to know that a lot of those pieces came from right here in Lake Orion. And then there's a fire pit, sort of a brick fire pit on the property, and you uncovered that circular concrete patio. Are you going to try to restore that area as like a gathering space?
Yeah, the concrete's in amazingly good shape. It does have some cracks, and it's not perfect, but I think it's good enough to save, especially for the historical significance. The fireplace it's cracked apart a bit, enough that I'm going to actually take it completely apart. All the pieces are still there. Some are falling off, but all the pieces are there. So I'll take pictures, and so I know exactly where each stone goes and rebuild it back to its former glory, because it is a huge feature of the property.
It
I've seen
is
a lot of pictures.
And you see it in a lot of the archival film that I've seen over the past week or so. So yeah, you wouldn't want to just demolish that.
No.
It'd be cool to restore that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so that's a question. So if you knew it was the Hoffa House or Hoffa Home, but just looking for a project to like kind of rehab and taking on something that has historical significance, those are two very different types of projects. You know, obviously you're taking a lot more time and putting some love into the project that maybe, or time that you wouldn't need to put in if you weren't trying to preserve some of these pieces. So how's that piece going? I know you said semi-retired, but I mean, you know, how's the time aspect?
Working harder than ever.
Yeah.
Well, because it is fun. I want to keep it moving. My goal, I'm working hard because I want to get the outside looking really good before winter hits, and get like all new windows and, you know, the exterior looking good. Then in the wintertime, work on the inside.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a push to beat the weather, because we have some concrete work to do outside. The tennis court will get repaved, probably within the month. That'll get repaved, and the street also we're going to repave.
Okay.
Not from all the way from Clarkson Road,
Yeah.
but
That's a long way.
but there's a shared street with the neighbor next door.
Yeah.
And that's Ray Court, right?
That's called Ray Court.
Yeah.
So there's probably about a 300-foot stretch of pavement. So that way that'll really clean up the area and make it a little more pristine to what it was back in the day.
Yeah. Something I stumbled onto when I was doing research during that dig is when I drove down Allendale, which comes off of Clarkston, there's an area where you hit some speed bumps, and they're pretty severe speed bumps. And as I was doing my research, I found a Free Press or news article online that was published a day or so after Hoffa disappeared, and a reporter was asking neighbors what was Hoffa like as a neighbor, and they said, oh, he was great, he was awesome. As a matter of fact, when we complained about speeders, he had his guys come out and install speed bumps. And so those speed bumps on Allendale were installed by Hoffa and his crew. So there's reminders of Hoffa all over the place. And there's another interesting story that Dawn, the daughter of the previous owner, shared. where her father was doing some work in one of the rooms, and a wallet fell out of the ceiling. And when he opened it up, it was full of crisp $100 bills
Wow.
and a prayer card.
Oh.
So his prayers were answered, I guess. But he picked it up and put it in his pocket and said, "Thanks, Jimmy." So it's fun hearing those kind of stories.
Yeah.
And in the basement, there was a jukebox and piano and TVs and a safe, and apparently a lot of that belonged to Hoffa. So,
Wow.
yeah. So what are your future plans with the home? So once, you said it might take about a year to do some the major work on it. What's the future plans for the home? You said you're not planning on living in it, so what do you hope to do with it?
That's a good question. We honestly don't know, but
We're debating a lot of things at this
Okay.
point. You know, we could sell it, we could rent it, we
Yeah.
could Airbnb it. It all
Yeah.
depends on the level of work we want to do, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, there's like the trend now, right? You could make it one of those themed Airbnbs and, you know, the different rooms and make the doors. Have you ever, I've seen them, maybe because now I'm such a new, like, but really into it Star Wars fan, but I get all the different, you know, things in my social media feed where you can Airbnb like a Star Wars like place. So you could,
Oh, I'm sure there'll
you
be
could do that
Hoffa
and like,
buffs
yeah,
that-
yeah, you could, for sure.
You mentioned to me, though, you have to be careful that if you Airbnb it, you don't want residents taking home souvenirs. So that would be a bit of
Yeah.
a challenge.
Yeah, a lot of that's going to be not
yeah,
part of
the-
the house.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and any souvenirs will not be. Well, the inside house we're going to turn into 2025,
Yeah.
standards. The outside will be what it looked like in 1975.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So if we did Airbnb it, it wouldn't have, anything
Hoffa
Hoffa
items
related,
in it at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Yeah.
except for the fact that it was the home.
Yeah.
Now, the archival photos and film that I saw, the home looked to be kind of a bright white at one time. Do you think you're going to go with white? Because right now it's kind of a beige brown color. Do you want to go that extreme and restore it to when it was
Yes.
white? Oh, that would
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was
Yeah, originally had white aluminum siding, so I'm going to replace it with 8-inch hardy board
Yeah.
and then paint it white. So again, the outside will look just like 1975.
Now,
as it
there's a
was.
part of the home that was an addition, and I reached out to Orion Township to see if they had any documents on the home and the ownership, and they sent me the permit, building permit request that Hoffa put in to put the addition on the house.
Wow.
And the coolest thing about that is it has his autograph on the bottom. It's signed by Jimmy Hoffa.
Wow.
So I told the township, don't shred those documents.
Yeah, don't.
Find it, preserve it, save it, donate it to a museum. But
Yeah.
and it's funny, he's listed as like the purchaser and the contractor. So I guess he paid himself to do the work.
I guess so. He must have been his own general contractor. So I'm curious, though, like, what was the addition for? Like, what part of the home, or what was the room?
So it's kind of that living
I'm
room.
assuming
area.
it's the kitchen and then maybe making the. It's hard to tell from the original picture. There were windows, but it might have been a 3-season room or something.
Right,
And
exactly.
then maybe he extended out to make it a full-time space because there is like a space heater against the wall.
Yeah.
On one of those walls, and probably the 2 dormers upstairs.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so it's probably the kitchen, enlarging the kitchen, the sun porch, and really making the upstairs livable.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You know, when I saw photos of when you were tearing up the carpet and stuff, which breaks my heart because the carpeting is so beautiful. There's a different color
Is
in
it like
every
orange
room.
shag?
Oh, it's
Every
70s
70s
color.
Teal, orange,
Oh,
You
yeah,
name it.
yeah.
brown.
Yeah.
Brown's good.
But we salvaged some of the carpet and some of the knotty pine paneling, so that's
Yeah.
I donated a piece to the Historical Museum in Oxford. They're going to have that on display. And we found some pamphlets that Hoffa had printed up when he was campaigning for Teamsters president after he got out of prison. So we're donating that to the Orion Historical Society, the Oxford Museum, and things like that. So we
Nice.
want to preserve that history, and you guys are doing a great job of preserving it. I'm so relieved that they're not going to take a bulldozer to that building. So,
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's very happy not to be chained there, right?
yeah. Is it an obligation, preserving history? What is it like to be saving and preserving history for future generations?
Well, I think it's important, especially to Lake Orion, because he was well known around here and I think loved by everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's a great segue because when I put together a little documentary leading up to the 50th anniversary, I had found out that there were several Lake Orion residents who knew Jimmy Hoffa, who had experiences with him. And so I invited anyone who wanted to talk about him to come into the studio, or I met him on location, and they shared their stories of with Jimmy Hoffa. So first I want to thank you two for coming down and spending time with us. Really great to have you, and you're practically neighbors right up the road. So
That's right.
Yes,
thanks
we
for
are.
sharing the experience, and you can follow the progress in the home with, what's the name of the Facebook page? Hoffa House
Renovations. Yep, and it's both on Instagram and on Facebook.
Okay. So if you want to see the progress of the updates going on there, I check it almost daily. I really look forward to it. And so check that out, and we'll keep you posted on those updates. And let's take a look at some Lake Orion residents who shared their experiences of meeting and knowing Jimmy Hoffa.
While living in Lake Orion, many locals had friendly encounters with Jimmy Hoffa at various locations throughout the community, including his home on Square Lake.
Well, as I remember, my wife was in the shop on a Saturday, and this Chucky O'Brien, his stepson, came in and told her that Jimmy was getting out of prison the next week, I think, and for me to come down next Saturday and measure for floor covering. Well, when I came back and she told me, I said, I'm not going down there. You know, I don't like this guy. I'm not going to work for him. And because of what I heard. And so I didn't go. Well, the next week he came in and he told her, he says, your husband will be down there next Saturday to measure for floors. So I thought, well, I better go. Well, I went, and I don't know, Jimmy just was a regular guy. You know, he wasn't a celebrity, he wasn't a special person, and he was just a regular guy. And we kind of, I guess, talked, and because he was a talker. And he kind of took a liking to us, I guess, right off the get-go.
So what kind of work did you do in the house?
Well, we did, I think, a lot of that carpenter work I told you earlier. We did put that pine paneling up for him. Did a lot of floors, put a lot hard surface in the kitchen, and I think there was a dining room there. We tiled that or linoleum, and then we carpeted the house for him too. He's always talking. Jimmy was always talking. And he was always talking on telephone. We could hear him in one of the bedrooms talking, and that was before cell phones, so he couldn't walk outside. And we could hear a lot of the things he was saying. But he came to me one day and he said that Nixon was going to retire or give it up the next day. I said, Jimmy, how the hell do you know that? You know, he said, I was just talking to Kissinger on the phone. You know, so he knew ahead of time that Nixon was going to step aside. That little house, there was a lot of activity that went on there.
Wow.
You know,
Right here in Lake Orion.
right here in Lake Orion, down that muddy road.
Well, to be honest with you, he and his wife, if you go to Van Wagner's, which is now Hanson's, they have two doors, front and the back. But anyways, they came in the back, and back that way was the pharmacy and the liquor counter, and then there were different supplies, and we saw this couple, and they were looking for baby supplies, like diapers and, I don't know, they didn't have wipes back then, but things, maybe a lotion or whatever that a baby needed. They were buying baby supplies. So we were watching them, and all of a sudden, I even said to my one friend who was working with me, I said, hey, you know who that is? She was like, that's Jimmy Hoffa. And I was like, doggone, is he short? Because, you know, when you would see him on television, and with his position of the country, he looked larger than life, and he spoke larger than life, but yet he was this very small man. Remember, his wife was lovely, very pretty woman. They just kind of, he and his wife came in, and it's kind of like they had a mission. Either the grandkids were coming or were there, and they needed these supplies, and they were just busy gathering all these things up. And then he came to the counter and he said, you know, we'd like to buy these things. And of course, you're trying to act cool, normal, but you're like, my friend didn't know who he was, but I did. So you're kind of like starstruck. You know, this is the biggest union guy in the country.
I just happened to turn on the news one night and saw our little Lake Orion was being featured, so of course that caught my attention. And I saw a picture of a man that I had met many times and knew not very well, but we had some really fun conversations when I was about 15, 16. I had no idea who he was or the prominence that he held within his industry until I stopped and watched that news clip, and they told me all about this man that I had been talking to for about a year and a half in the evening after I was done working. I was really surprised at learning who he was and the position of power that he had. He just seemed like such a gentle soul. I never would have imagined that he had the amount of power that he had. He was just a normal Lake Orion kind of guy. So the first time I met him, I was maybe 14 or 15, and I worked at what is now Starbucks. It was a Hardee's at that time, and my sister worked next door, and that was Richardson's Dairy. It's now Opa's, and we would ride share to go to work. But she got off a little bit later than I did every night, so I would go over and visit with her. Well, it was almost every night. Mr. Hoffa was there. He liked his ice cream. He was standing at the door waiting for somebody to come in that he could chat with somebody while he was eating his ice cream cone. He just was very welcoming, very warm, and yeah, it's like he worked there. And he helped my sister out because he would talk to the customers while she was busy helping another customer, and he would just sit and chat with everybody. He was just an amazingly nice gentleman.
I saw him. He used to come in. We had a hardware store. He would come in on Saturdays when he went to get his hair cut, and he'd come in and we'd have coffee and donuts for him, and that's where I knew him. He's a great, and he always had his grandson with him. He was a great guy, but he had things that he wanted to do, and the other people didn't want him to do it.
What was the name of the hardware store? He said Handy
Andy Hardware.
Where was that? You remember?
That is right on Clarkson Road where the Corvette shop is.
He came in the produce market there, and he would buy stuff in there. He would come in shorts and, real casual, like, I think at first he was only coming out here in the summer. It was his summer home. And then he moved out here permanently. But we had, I remember, I had an antique car sitting in the back of the produce building, and I told the girls, keep the kids away from it. I don't even want anybody back there messing around with that car. And the girls told me later that Jimmy Hoffa came in and wanted to go back there, and they let him go back there, which was all right. The antique car had caught his eye, but he would come in periodically. He was not loud or anything like that. And he was nice to talk to, and the Teamsters loved him as an example. But I never heard anything negative about him other than, stuff he was involved in the newspaper.
Argentina. So yeah, that was Neil Porter, former township trustee. That you saw his collection of cars in that video, and love his story about letting Hoffa go back there and look at the cars, and everyone had incredible stories. It was a lot of fun. I put out a call on Facebook. If you have a Hoffa experience you want to share, reach out to me, and many did. And I loved hearing those stories. And not everyone agreed to be on camera, but they were, willing to share stories with me. And there's a police officer who told me he responded to an alarm that had been triggered on the Hoffa property. And Hoffa came out and he's like, "What's going on?" And he goes, "I'm responding to an alarm." And he goes, "Oh, really?" And they had to make some phone calls. And there's a guy that owns a tire place here in Lake Orion. He said Hoffa used to come into his tire place. And so a lot of people have these stories to share. It's a lot of fun hearing those stories.
It was fun. I enjoyed this clip, and it was really kind of neat to see the pictures too of the downtown and hearing what some of the stores used to be, like Hanson's.
Hanson's was Van Wagner's.
Yeah.
And Van Wagner, he must have had an early home movie camera, because there's archival film of downtown Lake Orion shot from that doorway of Van Wagner's, and it looks like there's a car cruise going on downtown, but it's not. Those were modern cars at the time. So he was shooting film at that intersection for decades. It's really fascinating. But yeah, so yeah, Hoffa was a regular. And now when I drive past Opa's or I eat at Opa's or whatever, I picture Jimmy Hoffa hanging out there talking to locals. You know? So,
having some ice cream.
yeah, and imagine how devastated this community was when they turn on the news in 1975 and hear that this kind man that everyone seemed to love had vanished, and no one ever saw him again. It must have been heartbreaking. And that home was sort of a vigil where the family members hung out at that home. The media would show up at that home and await updates. And you know, the son, James Hoffa, who, by the way, I talked to on the telephone last Friday, you know, he would plead to the cameras, like, if you know anything about my father's whereabouts, please contact us. And there's a bumper sticker that went out where it said, like, where's Jimmy Hoffa or something, with a phone number that you were encouraged to call. So it was really tough on the family. And that's one thing that James Hoffa Jr. told me on Friday, is that this is a really tough time for the family, especially knowing that it's 50 years since the disappearance, and he's getting a ton of requests for interviews and stuff. But I can imagine what they're going through right now. So.
Yeah, especially not having answers and not knowing, right?
Yeah.
So
one thing that Mr. Hoffa did tell me on the phone is he really appreciates what John and Susan Hagan are doing with their old home right here in Lake Orion. So that was really nice to hear.
Yeah.
And Mr. Hoffa did say he saw the video that I put together and really enjoyed it. So imagine that. You know, imagine trying to tell a softer, friendlier side story of Jimmy Hoffa, and knowing that his son had seen that video and appreciated it. That meant a lot to me. So that was pretty great. There's a new video that I just uploaded to YouTube last night. It already has over 700 views in less than 24 hours. But after producing that documentary about Jimmy's time here in Lake Orion, a gentleman reached out to me and said, I saw your video, will you help me share my story? And I said, well, what's your story? And he said, I witnessed Jimmy Hoffa's murder and burial in concrete.
What?
And that was my reaction on the phone.
Yeah.
And he proceeded to tell me the details of what he had witnessed. And it was compelling enough where I said, well, I'll meet you, I'll interview you, and we'll put your story out there. And super nice guy, very charming, and his story is full of details and stuff that not a lot of people would know. And so his claim is that it happened at the Renaissance Center, and that Jimmy Hoffa is part of the Renaissance Center. And his goal is to try and get a scanning crew out there to scan this concrete area where he says he witnessed Jimmy Hoffa get encased in concrete. Whether or not they take his claim seriously and send a scanning crew out there, but that could be the story of the century. Imagine finding Jimmy Hoffa at the Renaissance Center, which at least part of the Renaissance Center is slated to be demolished within a year. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
They're going to take down two of the towers, the 300 and 400 towers, which are on the river side of the building. They're going to demolish that. They want to turn that into sort of a restaurant shopping attraction for tourists, sort of a thing. But I read an article just yesterday that GM has not ruled out demolishing the entire Renaissance Center. And that kind of bugs me a little bit, because that would totally change the cityscape. You know, the skyline of Detroit, which you see in materials and magazines and everything. Imagine having that skyline completely changed. So I hope that doesn't happen, but at least two of the towers look like they're going to be coming down soon. So so
stay tuned.
So Michael Yarborough, who claims to have witnessed what he saw, has about a year to try and convince someone to get in there and see if they can validate his story. But it's a fascinating one.
Wow, that is. I'm gonna have to check it out.
So watch it. It's on YouTube. It's gaining traction, and of course there are the skeptics, but you know, his story's pretty compelling. So,
and you've heard lots of stories, and done a lot of research over the years. So
Yeah,
So
exactly.
for you to say it's compelling, it
is.
That's
See for yourself.
That
Judge
says
for
something. So
next up, another event that just happened recently at the Orion Township Library is that they partnered with the Orion Arts Center for a program. I think this might be their third year of. It's called the Art of Storytelling, where artists who sign up for this program will read this book called Everything I Learned in a Chinese Restaurant by Curtis Chin. And then they're inspired to create artwork based on the book. Okay. Well, it just so happens the library reached out to Curtis Chin, and he goes, I'm going to be in town. And so he did a live Q&A at the library just recently. And he's so charming and has such great stories. He had everybody laughing. And so he came out to the library, and I got to talk to him and covered the event. Let's take a look.
Earlier this year, the Orion Arts Center once again partnered up with the Orion Township Public Library to kick off their third annual The Art of Storytelling event. Each year, the library selects a book, and artists are encouraged to create works of art inspired by the book. This year, the chosen book is Everything I Learned in a Chinese Restaurant by Detroit native Curtis Chin, which is also Michigan Humanities' Great Michigan Read Selection for 2025-26. On Thursday, July 24th, Curtis visited the Orion Library to talk about his book and take questions from the audience.
We just happened to email him and let him know we were using his book as our inspiration for the Art of Storytelling, and surprisingly he was like, I'm going to be in town, would you like me to come out? So it all just kind of came together very quickly, and it ended up being a really great event, so that was exciting. But we really weren't expecting all of that to happen. We were hoping you'd just do a video and encouraging people to sign up for the program, but he went above and beyond and came out for us. So
what's my reaction to the art? It's just been an amazing run for me. I'm a kid that grew up in a Chinese restaurant, and I loved my childhood, but to think that it resonates with so many other people, like the way I've told it, it just makes me feel great, because I think that literature can still connect people, and it's nice to feel like my book has sort of done that in a small way.
What do you anticipate? What types of work would you like to see created based on your book?
A lot of food. I want to see food, pictures of food, noodles, egg rolls, rice, yeah.
The book is a memoir about working in a popular family-owned restaurant known as Chung's, which operated in Detroit's Cass Corridor from 1940 until 2000. Curtis said he's currently working on a follow-up memoir.
It's a memoir set in 2005. I was a writer for the Disney Channel, and I get this terrible phone call that my parents are in a car accident back here in Detroit. Sadly, my dad passed away. My mom was severely injured. My brother Chris, who's a doctor in California, immediately whisks my mom out there to help her recuperate. By the end of the week, my other siblings also decided they were going to leave the area, leave Detroit, and go help my mom. And I was left behind trying to decide, do I go back to Hollywood and continue the writing, or do I stay in Detroit and take over this fabulous Chinese restaurant? And that book is called Leftovers.
Artists are encouraged to use the library's makerspace to create the art inspired by the book. The deadline for submissions is Friday, August 1st. An opening reception is scheduled for September 6th at the Arts Center.
we are selecting the top 15 artists off their artwork to show. That's pretty much what we can show at the gallery. But out of those 15 artists, there'll be 2 top winners. That we have 2 judges that will be judging the artwork off of a rubric, and then we'll announce them at the opening.
Thank you for spreading art. I mean, these are important things that we're doing. You know, and I'm glad that, you know, people in this community get the benefit from the work they're doing.
To submit your work, visit orionartcenter.org and click on Exhibitions and scroll to the Art of Storytelling. At the library, this is Joe Johnson reporting for ON TV News.
So that was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm hungry, and
hungry,
I can
yeah.
go for some Chinese food right now.
That does sound really good, really good, yeah.
The restaurant that's not too far from here, Carrie Lee's, I guess they're moving into a new location, so they're temporarily closed for a while, even though I think they have a little bit of a pop-up at the Baldwin Cafe at Baldwin Road and Walden Road.
Okay.
But yeah, I can go for some food.
I go to the one that's in downtown, just north of downtown. So
is that the Panda one?
Panda House? Yeah, I think
yeah,
down.
yeah.
In the
is that
same.
good? I don't think I've ever been there before.
Yeah,
Okay.
I enjoy it. I mean, the place that I really enjoy, whenever I'm in Troy, there's a place called Wong's Garden that I really like. It's Square Lake and John R. So I go there. But out here, yeah, I go to Panda House.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
You have to try it. So, yeah. But I kind of want to read this story now. It really is intriguing.
Yeah.
And the way he was talking about his memoir that's coming out, wow.
Well, both are memoirs. So
Yeah.
the one that he talked about there was a memoir of his time at the restaurant,
right.
and then that second one is going to be a follow-up to the accident that impacted his family. So,
yeah. Everybody has a story, and
definitely.
It's so interesting. Like, I love getting to know people,
Yeah.
behind like the facade, like, what is your story?
Yeah.
So,
and who would have thought, like, you go to a Chinese restaurant, and you see the people working there. Who would have thought that he would be able to come up with a series of stories so compelling that he could have this great book that apparently is very popular.
Yeah.
And he's like, I might have to stop doing my Hollywood screenwriting and filmmaking just to focus on writing, because he's gotten such a great response from it, and he really enjoys doing those live Q&As. He did a big selfie with the crowd there that he published on his Facebook page and everything. And you see me in the background with my video camera standing there. So
That's great. That's great. So, and it sounds like there's still time if you're an artist and you want to get into the contest.
Yeah. So the Art of Storytelling project that they're doing, the deadline to register for that is Friday, August 1st. So you still have a few more days to sign up and get involved with that. And you'll get access to the library's makerspace. They have like wood burning and 3D printing and Cricut cutting things and everything. So I think that's part of the requirement, is that you have to incorporate the library's makerspace into your project.
I mean, there's so many options. It's pretty amazing that our library has all of these tools that you can use.
So go to orionartcenter.org to sign up today. And we're going to kind of wind down with this week's Quick Hits. I know off the top of my head, one event that's going to be taking place this Friday, I'm sure Becky will talk about it, is the Big Rig Gig at Friendship Park. There's going to be a ton of trucks and everything parked at Friendship Park, and the kids love it.
Yeah.
Bring earplugs because they're tooting the horns the whole time.
It is a fun event. I won't be there this year. I have a wedding on Friday that I'm going to. So not mine, but my guest. So.
All right.
So,
well, have fun this weekend.
Thank
and
you.
I got a couple of things going on this weekend. There's the Rotary Club has their big seafood boil this Saturday. That's a really fun event with great food. And Guest House just up the road has their 5K. Again, I'm probably spoiling Quick Hits, but we're going to leave you with this week's episode of Quick Hits, put together by ONTV's Becky Andrus. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks on Orion Today.
See you next time.
The LO Live Summer Concert Series continues this Wednesday. Bring your whole family for an evening of music and fun at the Gazebo in downtown Lake Orion. This week's concert will feature the music of Buffalo Road. On Thursday evening, the Wildwood Amphitheater will be having a free concert beginning at 7 o'clock. Grab your lawn chairs, blankets, family, and friends for an evening of music on the hill. Thursday night's concert will feature the music of the Stone Blossoms. Don't miss the annual Big Rig Gig this Friday at Friendship Park. Grab the whole family for an unforgettable experience. The evening will include a close-up look at dozens of trucks, tractors, diggers, dozers, buckets, and backloaders. The event runs from 5 to 9 p.m. On Saturday, the Orion Library will be offering take-and-make beaded bracelets for teens and adults. Make a beautiful beaded bracelet for yourself or for someone special. Take-and-make bracelets will be available at the adult reference desk. Supplies are limited and are available on a first-come, first-served basis. The Lake Orion Sunrise Rotary Club will be hosting a seafood boil on Saturday. The event runs from 12 to 4 p.m. and benefits the Children's Hospital in Cartagena, Colombia. For more information and tickets, visit their Facebook page at Lake Orion Sunrise Rotary Club. It looks like we're in for a very pleasant week. Wednesday's forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies with a high of 82 and low of 62. Morning clouds and afternoon sun on Thursday with a high of 77 and low 56. Partly cloudy on Friday with a high of 77 and low 54. Sunny on Saturday with a high of 79, low 57. And mostly sunny skies on Sunday with a high of 81 and low of 60. Well, that's it for this week's ONTV Quick Hit. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.